All right, welcome back, and we are on episode 4 of the podcast.
Oh, man, already?
We made it. That's gonna be every episode. We did it.
This is our milestone, guys.
We can quit now. Episode 5 is when it ends.
Well, we're
so
ahead.
I'm just kidding. Can you imagine? We're just like, let's go.
5 episodes. Hope you enjoyed it. See you later.
Did you want more? Too bad. All right. Well, today, last time we talked a little bit about just world building a bit and a little bit more on the bad guy. I mean, I know we did that 2 in a row, but we really keepers.
We kind of built out more
His
of
henchmen.
his organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a very important step that
Yeah.
we had to take.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's going to totally influence how our characters interact with the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because the bad guy controls it. So that's what we talked about last week. This week we'll be talking about episode 0. But before we get to that, let's get to this week in D&D. Or rather D&D adjacent, shall I say.
Yes.
Non-sponsored,
just our interests.
Yeah.
Yet.
So probably a lot of you have heard of Neverwinter, besides it being a city on the Sword Coast in Faerun.
It's a pretty fun MMO.
It's actually a game online.
I've played it a bit.
And they just released the Uprising, which has to do with the Illithid and Githyanki.
Which, if you don't know their history, is pretty
very
epic.
interesting.
So I'm thinking about picking it up again.
Might be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which I wonder if it's going to tie into the new Baldur's Gate that they're releasing, which is totally Illithid central. So
Probably.
yeah.
I don't know. Illithid are one of my favorite bad guys, and the Gith and Githyanki, Githzerai, all of them are so beautifully written. If you haven't read their history, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Like there could be literally huge books written on each situation. It's epic. So
it looks like this. It looks like this will take place in the Outer Planes. So if you
which is where the Gith are hiding.
If you want to play with dragons in space, this might be right up your alley.
Those astral, what are they called? Those giant
projections or
no, there's these astral behemoth type creatures. They're like level 20 CR rating. They're huge. They're massive. I think it was in Xanathar's or something, or Mordenkainen. I don't remember which book. But yeah, it looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out.
Yeah, if you like MMORPGs and want to play some D&D online.
Again, not sponsored, just our interests.
Yep.
We just think you might be interested too.
We don't have sponsors at the moment.
Unless you want to be. Anyway,
check it out.
Today, episode 0.
Yeah.
It sounds like that should have been episode 1 of our podcast.
No.
But not. But it's episode 4. And honestly, I'm excited because it could go any direction, depending on because characters, when did they do what you want?
Yeah.
But we're going to put down a general, what you can kind of lead them to start doing.
I feel like
give
the first episode, like episode 0, almost always has to be railroady in some aspects.
You have to put them on a path.
You have to be able to introduce the world to them in some sort of recognizable way.
You can't. I mean, you could throw them in a tavern and just be like, "Do what you want."
Yeah.
They cause a fight.
It'd be kind of odd to start all of your characters in 4 corners of the world and make them figure out how to get together and make it make sense.
It would be a nightmare for a DM. Creating 4 different.
You'd be creating 4 campaigns and trying to get everybody to come together.
No. Well, I mean, so this is going to be a bit on the nose when it comes to what is expected.
Yeah.
And so, what we kind of thought with just going straight from the last episode is that Veneration, which is the overlord that controls everything, but most people don't know he exists. I would say, when I say most, I mean like 98% of the population doesn't know he's there.
It's just the upper echelons of the current society would know who he was.
Exactly. And even then, there's speculations, and they don't want to ask because who wants to get his attention?
Right.
Because like we made this,
pretty much always means death.
We made this joke about Veneration events, where he would show up and totally wipe out entire uprisings or rebellions or whatever, and so
people would say that they were venerated.
But in the mindset of, and I love how it's like his his name means like, adoring
Yeah.
and like loving, like, but it's like
Sort of like being honored.
fear is a better one. But so we thought with episode 0, what we could do. What could you possibly do to get your characters to be interested in finding out more about this world?
So we have to start them off somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably not in a tavern. That's too.
Absolutely not. And that's not a bad
It's tropey,
way.
but
it's not a bad way to go.
Yeah.
But in this case, not
going to work
necessary.
for our story.
Not necessary at all. In fact, we thought it'd be fun to put them on a mission immediately.
In the middle of something.
They're in the middle of a quest they already agreed to, so they have to go do it.
Not unlike Lost Mine of Phandelver, which we talked about a couple episodes ago.
You're already on the road.
Yeah, you're already working together. Yep.
The goblins, they're here.
So yeah, they've already been given this quest to steal. They are thieves. They've been given this quest to steal from the keeper of this area that oversees their town that they're from. Is that kind of what we're thinking?
And even then, I would imagine they're on the outskirts.
Yeah.
Like way outskirts.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of society in general. Like maybe towards the deserty areas or jungle or forest, depending on what you want to do as a DM. I'm not going to say that it has to be any biome. It could be in a snow area. It could be they're all wearing like heavy fur coats. Like it doesn't matter. The important thing is the context. What they're doing is sneaking into it's very stupid.
Yeah.
Very dumb.
Foolish.
Maybe their families are hungry. Maybe they don't have families. They're desperate. Whatever your characters do. But the idea is they are doing this for either themselves to get a good amount of money, whatever that means, or tradable goods, depending on what veneration has
Some
decided.
manner of freedom for themselves or their families.
I would imagine that currency exists.
Yeah.
Because people wouldn't give that up. I feel like it would be too hard.
They could go back to an old bartering system, but why would they do that in a society that's supposedly advancing?
Yeah, and so let's say that whoever gave the quest, which in this case would be someone, and this is what DMs would know, he would be someone who knew someone who possibly knew someone
Yeah.
that had a blueprint to veneration.
Yeah.
The original artificer who created him in the first place, he had a blueprint, not the whole blueprint, maybe just like a hand.
A piece of it.
A piece of it. Because blueprints aren't just like, and it's one.
A specific enchantment or a specific body
Yes,
part.
exactly. And maybe when on the actual document itself has just a V, like the letter V, and then some numbers.
You're
and
not revealing any names.
And maybe there's
with
like a
this blueprint.
spell that's listed on there. Maybe it has like ideas scribbled on it, but you have no idea what it means. And the players, if they find it, which they could, they may not, but they could, depending on how they do, because roles dictate everything. If they found it, though, it would be just gibberish with like a drawing. But
It'd be enough of a bait for them to possibly investigate.
But to veneration, to know that there's blueprints of himself out there or something, leading people to question what that is. I mean, even though they probably would never find out by themselves unless a DM threw stuff at them, it's enough to create some very big problems for their entire society if they found it. So that's what they're doing, but they don't know it.
Yeah.
They're basically
They just know they're stealing something from a keeper.
and they're not even from this area.
Yeah.
I imagine that he hired outsource, so
Maybe, but that
could be.
that could cause issues with the whole revenge
Borders.
thing down the line.
that's true.
Being venerated.
Yeah, true. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what we're thinking. Just they're on their way there. They get there.
And at that point, they're caught by the keeper himself. And my reasoning behind that thought is that they instantly have a target to hate, and they have something that they can sort of choose to fight.
Maybe they have like an Obi-Wan with them. Maybe this like high level hero who's like level 15 or something, and he's just like, I've been through all sorts of things. I will lead the way. And then we're going to get paid and we're going to go home. I will find a way to do this. But if he wants this done and you need to come with me, let's do this. And let's say that keeper shows up, which is a big deal. It's like a ring wraith shows up. It's not like a low-level orc or something.
Yeah.
Like if we're talking about Lord of the Rings.
It's like if you were to try to steal something from a ring wraith. I mean, that's
Precisely.
the
It's like
level
you
of what
went
we're
to the
talking
Witch
about.
King's house
Yeah.
in Minas Morgul and we're like, I'm going to take his Palantir. Don't do that. That's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're seeing into...
The characters don't know this, though.
No, and that's important. That's important because at first they're thinking, low-level mission.
Yeah.
And then
This is a level 1. We're just stealing something.
it creates this like desperation of the world. It creates this like realization to a character. Okay, I'm not some all powerful goblin punching fiend. I am low level in a high level area.
Yeah.
I'm level 1 in a level like 70 area. Like it's huge. Like
They're
it's big.
designed to lose. Hopefully, the DM can make choices that don't end up to their immediate deaths.
Right, which in
But-
this case, I would write the keeper that shows up. Maybe that he's letting it happen to
Yeah.
catch them. Maybe it shows them that they're under surveillance. Maybe some of them have the tattoos that we talked about in the previous episode, where we talked about how they kind of show them off as like magic users. Maybe there's some person in their party that betrayed them that's also with them.
Yeah.
It's a good way to create also animosities with lower level bosses.
Yeah.
Someone that they trusted, a friend, a brother, a sister of one of the characters.
What was Ash Ketchum's rival? That shows up at every corner.
Exactly. Gary.
Gary.
And it's
Gary.
and it's like that same idea. Maybe like for instance the one we ran with the Yuan-Ti, Ammonius, one of the he wasn't even like a technical council member. And you guys the whole time thinking he's this important character, which he was really just kind of the slave guy. And Odeon, this warlock that was with you, was actually a member of the council, and you found that at the very end.
Yeah.
And then he was supposed to kill you guys or find out what you were doing and sacrifice you to the Auntie to get greater power. He changed his mind because he spent a lot of time with you. And it created this like, and you ended up sparing him at the end.
Well, yeah, actually, the Celestial did.
Well, that's true. But you, because of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Azrael ended up. If you, by the way, go watch it. It's really good. I know we're spoiling the ending, but definitely it's worth it. It's. I feel like the story itself was pretty good.
Yeah,
but
it was. It was very enjoyable.
and by the way, I'm not patting my back. I'm patting my players' back because that story morphed from them, and that's kind of what I want to talk about with this.
Yeah.
They may not do any of this, but this is kind of how I imagine episode 0 will start it. So episode 1 can be whatever they do,
Yeah.
and we'll leave that pretty open once we do that.
And it kind of makes me think of one of the things that makes the story great is when things aren't done in a meaningless fashion. And I was just barely reading this earlier. The DM manual talks about when not to shake things up.
Yeah.
And basically cautions against false action, which is really easy to do. Let's go beat up some goblins. Nothing to do with any kind of anything.
Yeah, I mean, it can be for a fun little romp to test your powers and abilities,
But it's really going to take away from the campaign. And sometimes, I mean, it takes an unbelievable amount of time to get through some things in some campaigns.
oh yeah, like Tal'Dorei, for instance, like we as players.
For a whole year, we played through about 3 days worth of campaign.
Yeah, it could have been done within
It
like,
could- yeah, it could
like
have-
4 or 5 sessions.
Yeah, could have
but
been.
we did like 15
Can you
sessions.
imagine if I had thrown meaningless or false action in there?
I know. Well, and that's players. You
You'd-
can't
you'd
account
become
for them
detached.
to be. And as a DM, we talked about this last time about railroading. You don't railroad, but you definitely need some kind of loose gravel road because, and there may be some deviants to it that go to the left or right, but
Well, and
they
even if
eventually need
do,
to come back.
You as the DM, you can loop it back in.
You need to find a way.
Yeah.
Some character that comes rushing in on a horse that says, "I've been looking for you for days.
So-
What have you been doing shopping and getting drunk
Right.
for this time? We need you to save the world." You
Right,
know,
right.
something that's like.
So if in episode 0 your character is like, "Oh, I'm not going to go steal that blueprint,"
I've actually
You should probably kill 'em.
I've been with a one-shot group before that was one of the most unruly bunch I've ever had.
Really?
I managed to wrangle them into a common goal because I threw something at them. But it took them about 25 minutes to almost an hour actually. No, it was much longer. That felt much longer, but it was literally 45 minutes. They would not do anything. They would not do anything. They'd sit there and they were like, "Okay, I'm going to look
So
at my watch."
they didn't want to make a choice, or
They were just inactive. They were all there. They were present, but they were doing a lot of role playing in their spot. And they're like, "My
Okay.
character is looking out over this area to think about his past." And I'm like, "That's fantastic. I love role play, but what are you doing? I don't have all night, you know? And it ended up being great.
Yeah.
But your players are never going to do what you want them to do.
And I would probably suggest as well, in episode 0, if you can avoid it, don't have all your players give their backstories. Let's put everybody to sleep.
You know what? And what we did in the Tal'Dorei campaign, which I liked, is we told who we were, our names, but then we just start playing.
Yeah.
And when we started, like we said, what you see.
What the character description was.
Because if you don't know the person, why would you know their backstory? And I know that some people love that, and I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah.
Because whatever. You do your thing.
It definitely takes away from the role-playing aspect when you know their secrets.
But if people found out that I was a changeling in episode 3 or whatever, and it was like, oh, that's different. You're not a human bard. You're a changeling bard. Well, that changes things, you know, like, and then we found out that one of them's a genasi, and that was a big part of the story. And like at that same episode, our monk talked about his past and how it was, and like, if it comes out organically, it is so much better. So in episode 0, sure, have them describe themselves. Maybe some of them know each other and they can kind of bring out that if they want to. Maybe on the road they talk about it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Find a way to incorporate it if you want to, but maybe just make the characters do stuff.
Some of these guys like to pull out 3 pages and read the whole thing to the group.
I've had that too.
And that's a great way to ruin the night.
Yeah, it's like the character's like, I'm more important than all of you and the
Yeah.
DM. So let me tell you about. And obviously, I wrote almost a book for Basque.
There's nothing wrong with having the backstory, but I gotta tell you, nobody else cares.
Yeah, they don't.
Use it for role-playing yourself. Don't use it for explaining yourself to other people.
You know your Bond personality type, flaws, all that section?
That's all
That's
you
how
need.
big it should be.
Yeah.
And if you want more than that, do it, but you don't have to read it out.
Yeah.
At all.
For the love.
So I know that was kind of a side thing, but honestly, that's very
it has
important.
to do with episode 0.
I feel like it absolutely fits. And a little tip, I would say, to player or DM, tell them if you know, as a DM, you have that power to be like, guys, I would like this to be where we find out about each other during.
Yeah.
Say at a campfire, it's you sitting around the campfire and one of your characters just finally says, you know what, today really affected me.
Yeah.
It reminded me of when I was a kid and I saw my brother murdered by another gang and it really forced me into this life. And I didn't realize that I would get to this point, you know, and then everyone's like, whoa, you know, like, instead of like, well, my character, his name is Drambledew and he's a goblin.
3 hours later, that's why I could never love again.
Yeah. It's agonizing. Guys, make it real.
Yeah.
Anytime you make it real, and maybe you love that. If you love that style, cool. I'm not saying it's
as
bad.
long as everybody else in the group does too, because
make
it's
sure
pretty
you know.
selfish if other people are not enjoying that.
And if there's one person in your group that just does it, maybe pull them aside and be like, I do not want to offend you, but I kind of want this particular session to be about role play,
Yeah.
not the one-man band, you
Yeah.
know, like, and I'm going to say that and say, I'm going to tell everyone this,
Yeah.
you know, so, you know, if there's one person, don't single them out in a negative way, because that makes them leave forever.
Especially in front of the group. Yeah.
Especially in front of the group.
Yeah.
Dude, you suck. Unless you're all like that. I mean, you're dynamic.
That's true. That's true.
But again, I don't think anyone likes to be singled out, even if they pretend or feign to be like, yeah, I'm fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
They go home and cry in their pillow. Anyway, so episode 0, we're thinking
they're
they
going,
get to the
they're
place.
going to steal this blueprint. They're caught by a keeper.
Yeah, that's the big 2 points.
Yeah. And at this point, the keeper is gonna take them to jail. They're gonna get tortured for information. They're going to eventually be put on public display, hanging whatever.
At this point, they would have all been knocked out.
Yeah.
Or like subdued. I want to
Yeah.
say subdued. Hold person. And you could cast it multiple times for some reason. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't stop his concentration.
Like Mass Effect stun word or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But they have to, like, they roll disadvantage on their checks. And like something that makes it so if one of them breaks free, they can use that later on when they're caught or something.
Yeah.
But let's say the high level character that's with them kills the keeper. And then then at the same time, the keeper kills him. Like, they're both dying.
Okay.
And let's say that the guy doesn't, you know, he doesn't explain anything because he doesn't know anything. But they find something on the keeper that implicates something bigger.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like, because then it makes the characters like, Well, cool. Well, maybe not kill him, but
I was
wound
going
him.
to say, who's going to throw him in jail?
Easy. He has guards.
Okay.
Of course he has guards.
Uh-huh.
I mean, obviously he doesn't need them, but in this case, they are all captured, so to speak, weakened, and so they get captured.
So probably a new keeper would be brought in after this, if that's the case.
And also a veneration event.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like if they
One
found
of his keepers
it,
is killed.
if they found the blueprint, maybe as a DM I would make it enough for them to look over it after the keeper was killed and the hero was killed, and they weren't able to bring him back with magic means, because obviously they've either used their spells or something. Make sure as a DM, pay attention. If you want to have someone die, make sure you understand what your players have left in their arsenal.
So we kind of talked about the, and this is just an idea. We talked about the veneration being able to send his minions kind of wherever.
Yeah, we did.
I wonder if when this keeper is killed, if veneration refills his receptacle immediately with a new consciousness in a way.
Yeah. Maybe.
And it's the same body but a different keeper, possibly.
Like a different mind. Kind
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
So maybe once they're looking at this blueprint, like, why did our quest giver send us here? And they look at this, they're like, for this? What is this going to do for him? And it's like a blueprint. They get to look at it for a second.
Yeah.
And that's when
The keeper
boom,
reanimates.
He reanimates, and
yeah.
all of a sudden they just get their trash kicked and then thrown into jail, which is essentially where episode 1 is going to begin.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would be a very good start to be like, it creates some hooks immediately, because people are going to look at it and be like, why is this so important?
Yeah.
What is this V? Who is V? Is it a person? Is it a thing they're planning?
It's for a vendetta.
Yeah. Held its votive not in vain. I love that movie. I have that part memorized. It was so weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, Anyway, I feel like that's a very good start as an episode 0, because it's not just stuff. It is with a purpose.
Yeah, and the details of it could be like maybe they're avoiding guards as they're sneaking, because obviously the whole thief thing, and you could have them trying to pick open locks and doors. And
Using their abilities, their fun stuff. They can be messing around. Make it kind of almost too easy,
Yeah.
because it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
The keeper's trying to see what they're
you
after.
want them to get to the keeper, yeah, and if the keeper's allowing it, then definitely.
Also,
would be
why
easy.
would the keeper have a bit of the blueprint?
Well, the keepers are kind of like pieces of veneration, aren't they? I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
in a way like he's almost redistributing pieces.
What
of
if
his
it
own
wasn't the
essence.
keeper's house? What if it was? I mean, obviously, this is
Like an
spitballing.
office building?
What if it was
kind
like
of thing.
a old temple, but it was like used as like, because it was one of the old gods, and maybe someone had hidden it there, and this person knew about it, and
Okay.
they had to break into it and open it up. That way, it wouldn't be, because it would be more of a shock if a keeper showed up, because then it would be like this, and it doesn't have to
Like
be
they're
this.
not supposed to be here.
They're not supposed to be
I
here. but
wonder.
then
So this document's not really supposed to exist then.
that's the point.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would be
Somebody
the big clinch.
else took this and
because
hid
if a keeper had
from
this, the keeper-
veneration.
because veneration doesn't want anyone to know he exists.
So I wonder how many of these documents would exist in the world. Is this the only one, or
It may be the only
there's a
one.
few
It doesn't
others?
have to be like collect them all.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be one. It could be an interesting boost to give some disadvantage on some kind of attack. It could be. I mean, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But I don't think it has to be. Unless as a DM you think that would be a cool thing for your characters to
Yeah.
do on a side quest. Like, oh, they found another piece.
Or as a DM, you could even find a way to tie that in to be the main thing.
Or find a way for one of your people to make
Exactly.
this for themselves.
Recreate veneration.
Use
in a
one of
sense,
the
but-
keeper's arms to create a missing arm on one of your characters, or
Yeah.
damage them in a way, and suddenly be like, oh man, I'm missing an arm now, and your player would be upset. Obviously, know your players.
Right. Right.
Don't do anything drastic. But I feel like that would be kind of a cool, where they find the keeper shows up in this low level area,
Yeah.
wipes them out. One of your heroes, the main guy, dies fighting him, and then all of a sudden they're just like, what was that?
Yeah.
And then a bunch of soldiers show up and they take him, and then he reanimates or whatever. I feel like that could be a really good option too. So
Yeah.
maybe we could write in 2 different options depending on what you want to do. Because either of those I feel like would be a good start. But I kind of like the idea of veneration doesn't he knows some of these exist still.
Uh-huh.
If he ever hears about them, he wipes out entire areas to make sure that no one knows about it.
It's that deep buried secret that he.
Yes. So the
he'll
keepers,
do anything to cover.
when the keepers scan it, essentially when they see it, and he probably can see through them. If it's anything like the ring wraiths and Sauron, he can kind of use their eyes or use them.
Sort of an extension of consciousness.
Which I feel like would be a cool way for him to be like, I've seen you.
Yeah.
You know, like that classic, I see you. And it's like, oh crap. He knows me. He's seen me now. Like when Mary picks up the Palantir and he said, I saw him. He saw me. You know, like that was creepy. Like that was like a big, like, oh my gosh, whatever. Maybe there's something when they touch the keeper or something, they see a glimpse of something. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
I mean, so like on a side note too, not exactly D&D related, but related to what we're talking about. Even with like, so like think about it this way, like our cell phones and our computers and our books in a way are an extension of our own consciousness because we hold memories and recordings and pictures and reminders and calendars and all these things that expand our minds in a way. So that's kind of how possibly veneration could be using these.
Much like you can't remember exactly what happened on a Disneyland trip, but you took a bunch of pictures and videos.
And you go back and look at them and you remember it so
maybe
much better.
it's kind of that type of idea.
Yeah.
With I like that. Yeah. I think that's a cool little quip there. Because then, I mean, obviously he's not like a computer, and I want that to be said.
Right.
Even though this is a Robotocracy that we're writing from in the Lord of the Rings.
So a lot of the ideas that we're using are computer related, but it's
in no way are they robots.
Yeah,
they are, in this case, they're bioengineered
magical constructs
that have steel frames, most of them.
Yeah,
and so I think that would be a good.
I suppose he would have. Not, I'm steering off topic again, but
no, it's still topic because it's creating the world.
Right. So, I imagine
creating a world is a web.
He'd have to have some sort of built-in defenses against like dispel magic.
Oh,
would just like end
absolutely.
Like,
he would have enchantments. Oh yes.
Because if somebody could just cast dispel magic and be like, "See you later, game over."
Oh yeah, they'd be done. One of the archmages of the whatever, they'd be just like, "Oh, well, I'm stopping that." Boom.
Right. Yeah.
Of course he would. Yeah. He would have to. He would have to be stupidly hard to beat.
Kind of makes me think
like Sauron. He gets stabbed and it's like, so what?
Yeah.
Like, oh no. Like the Witch King couldn't be killed by any man because it was a misprint essentially in the curse, and then a woman stabs him and he's like, oh crap, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think about Galbatorix. Yes. How he's using all of those eggs for his
Aragon series, if you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, the Evil King. Don't watch the movie, read the books.
Ugh. The movie isn't even about it, so don't worry about it. Yeah. You could watch the movie, it has nothing to do with it.
Right name, totally different story.
Same names, totally different story.
Yeah. So,
I agree. Galbatorix is a good example of how he has these different
he uses them as like layers of protection in a way, or layers of power.
Much
he has
like a
these
phylactery.
Different things. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Much like a lich has a phylactery. Yeah. And I think with the keepers, they are like phylacteries. Mm-hmm. I think every time you kill a keeper,
it's like a piece of his soul.
It's like it's like when you break a computer.
So he's like a robot demi-lich.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. It's like the more you break the stuff, the less effective he is.
Yeah.
So if you killed all the keepers, he would be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time he would be vulnerable.
And it'd be pretty cool, like
if you found a way to kill him.
You're fighting pieces of him over time. It'd be pretty cool if like one of them eventually was like the demigod, or which maybe isn't his core yet, but that may be like one of the more powerful pieces of him.
Maybe he's searching for that last bit of absorbing the gods, and then the demons.
Maybe he's hunting out a specific god so that he can take over that
and then be
domain.
Done. Yeah. Like, just take it all over.
Uh-huh.
He could create undeath. If he took over the god of death
mm-hmm.
and just created undeath, everything would serve him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like something. He's got to have some big goal. But anyway, otherwise he's just a stagnant god, and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So he's constantly doing things. So I think if you found a blueprint of him and the keepers found it afterwards, you'd be made an example of to the millionth degree, but also the people that you were with. Like your families, your whole, and that would hurt. That would sting.
And that would be the veneration event.
Yeah, they would wipe out your entire tribe, your people, and
everybody
more
you
than
ever
that,
knew.
More than that, people that trade with him.
Yeah.
He would wipe out an entire section and call it an accident.
There's nothing to go home to. You have no connection to anything
The
in
earth
the
has been
world
salted and it's
other
gone.
than the people that you're in your jail cell
And I'm not
with.
talking about like scorched earth. I'm talking about just everyone is wiped out.
Yeah.
He will come in with everybody he has in that section, wipe it out, be done with it. They can't. There's no books written about it. Everything's wiped out because
Wham, bam,
any
thank you, ma'am.
any slight implication that there could be a blueprint or something, then everyone starts asking questions, and that causes more problems. So it would have to be a big deal. And I feel like if a keeper knew about it, why would he hold it? Why wouldn't he just destroy it?
That's true. Yeah.
'Cause-
It wouldn't make sense because they're a literal
Unless the
piece of
keeper
him.
was rogue, which I don't think that. I mean, that could be something in the future to write.
Yeah, we could come up
That
with
could be
something.
like a rogue keeper that's
Like his
free
quirky
will.
piece of him that didn't want to be a part.
the Arcanist or something.
Yeah.
That actually, like, yeah, that could be fun. But in this case, I feel like it would be a really good way to just like, crap. They found this, burn them all, and then your people. Our next episode, they're in a prison camp waiting for some kind of big celebration, like some kind of like normal festival of everyone else to be like, okay, we're
Where they
bringing
can
them
be
out.
hung or decapitated or
Horribly mutilated, something that would send a
absorbed
message.
by a keeper.
Yeah, true. I feel like they would probably be absorbed. That might be a good way to like show like this is what happens to you. You will become us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's very creepy. It's very Borg from like Star Trek.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
like something. I mean, obviously, you as it like we said at the beginning, you take things from everything. Like
Yeah.
it's just how art is used.
Makes me think of Rick and Morty.
Yeah. What's her name? I can't remember. Unity.
Yeah, Unity.
Oh gosh. Well, in that it's somewhat, not so much mind control as it is.
I need a crotchless
fear
Uncle
control.
Miss Sam costume
Jeez.
at a stadium full of men that look like my father.
Oh man, I need to watch those again. But I feel like we got it. So I think that would. Do you agree? I mean, or would you prefer it to be the keeper's house with the?
No, not necessarily.
But I like that idea.
That was a good point. That it doesn't really make sense for him to
Because he would destroy it.
Have the.
It would have to
blueprint.
be like super black market.
Yeah.
Like no one knows about it. It was hidden, and someone's like, I heard that it's behind this temple wall door.
Yeah.
I mean, a wall that was sealed in when it happened, so we could look at it later. But I need it now.
Yeah.
And then he sends someone to do it, and then they send a bunch of other people because they don't want to die. But then you find out that they have all been killed, and they've been following you to
Yeah.
see where it is.
Yeah, and the other thought for this episode. So maybe your magic users are undiscovered magic users,
Oh yeah,
but after they're caught, then they're branded.
marked.
So episode 0, they have free use of the magic, but then it's gone.
Or maybe if it's not gone, maybe it's stifled,
Limited,
disadvantaged,
limited
or
to the rules.
something. And we talked about this too. We want to create an event that eventually, and not a long way off, because magic is kind of a big thing to your players. So if you like limit that for a long time, and they want to use magic, it can be hard. I know
Yeah.
we actually had that situation, and it was interesting. It was honestly a very fun way to play because it was like, oh, my guy relies heavily on magic and
I have these
illusion.
abilities, but they're nowhere near as easy to use as they should be.
And also there's massive penalties
Yeah.
potentially if I use it, I could get some sickness. And so like with this, you could do that. You could stifle their magic for like 4 or 5 episodes until they find someone that's like, here, let me remove that. And
Yeah.
you're like, what?
Yeah.
You know, like, and then you're like, thank you. And then you're kind of indebted. It creates more stuff.
Right.
We'll get into that. But I feel like that's a really good episode 0 leading into episode 1.
It seems like it's an awesome way to introduce the world to
I
the
would
characters.
love to play this.
They
would love to.
They know who the robot overlords are. They know that, oh crap, they're branding magic users.
Yeah, it really does it without a ton of exposition on your part, without reading an entire novel to them before.
I mean, nobody would really have to explain hardly anything other than the
You're in a-
Obi-Wan Kenobi guy.
Yeah, he could just be like, very simply.
But even
saying,
then, describe what we just talked about.
and you don't even have to talk to the quest giver.
There's these valuable ancient blueprints. We're not quite sure what they are. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, there's some papers that are in this temple that
With
are
the-
so valuable.
Yeah.
That it will make us rich for life.
And maybe part of the challenge of the temple, because if people aren't in there or looking at it, or maybe it's an abandoned whatever, you could do like
A mini dungeon
trapped.
or something.
It's just trapped. There's not really anything in there, but they're having to avoid traps left and
Maybe
right.
there's one guard.
Yeah.
One of these guardian people who have masks on that serve the keepers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
It's a good way to introduce those
then
too.
they kill them and be like, that guy was hard.
Yeah.
Like one guy. And then like 6 of them show up at the end with the keeper, and it's like, I give up. Like, nope. I mean, it would, so anytime you see them in the future, it's like, okay, watch out for that guy.
Right.
Because then I like that, because it makes this like when you defeat a bunch of them, or it makes it like when you kill a bunch of stormtroopers, you're like, all right, that's like 6 less guys. You know? So, I mean, it'd be fun. I truly would like to play that. I absolutely would love to.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
DM or play, that would be a good one.
Sounds like a lot of
So if you like this idea, if you have a different idea of how episode 0 would start, tell them below, like we said in the last one.
Yeah.
And we're going to say in everyone, comment on it in YouTube, because that's where we put it.
Yeah.
Also, if you're listening to this on other devices now, we're there. You can listen to all of them now. Yeah, go ahead and do that. But
give us your suggestions on where you think the campaign might go at this point, if you're keeping up. If you're not keeping up, still, we'd like to hear it.
we're open to anything.
We're gonna go back and do the evil version of this when we're done. So.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go the route of maybe the guards and the people who are, that are helping, and like how they can stop an uprising, or
maybe at some point when they're being tortured, they agree to give information up, or when they're going to steal the blueprint, they're hired instead of thrown into jail.
or maybe it's a couple keepers and it's higher level evil. Like you can start at like level 10, level 15, and it's like a lot more intense, like fighting off the overlord and taking out. Maybe one of you gets a point. I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
We want to do something kind of different, where it's not just the good guys. Let's find a way to win.
Yeah.
We also want to do like,
There's one way to play this campaign. Here it is.
and it doesn't have to be like evil. It can be very power hungry. Let's take over. Let's take out the other keepers, use their abilities, and then let's take out the overlord. That would be cool. I mean, like, that would be an epic fight.
Sort of reabsorb veneration and become one yourself.
Yes, or find a way to do it together. Eventually, it could come out to an all-out brawl between all the players and see who becomes veneration.
And that would be, we've never really played one like that together. That'd be a lot of fun.
No, that would be an epic battle.
Sort of a competitive
PvP.
PvP.
At the end, everyone knows at the end it's going to be like, how can I? And it would create a really toxic
They're
but
trying to
interesting
selfishly
dynamic.
gain power because they know that's where the game's going to go.
There'd be very little sharing of objects.
Yeah, wealth.
Oh,
yeah,
gosh, that would be. You'd have to play with the right group.
definitely. Yeah,
You'd have to be friends.
You can't be
well
offended
before.
by
Like
no.
if you get killed in secret by one of your people, you have to be like, good move, man.
Yeah,
Sucked, but very, very smart move.
Yeah,
It's like playing Monopoly with friends. You
Right.
start friends, you end up enemies.
yeah. If you want to get divorced from your family or yeah,
Yeah, totally outcast, exiled, and all that. Anyway, well, thank you so much for watching episode 4. We'll see you again in episode 5. We're going to talk more and more about building this world up, and I think we'll kind of, I don't know if we'll flesh out each, like, episode 1, season, like every single section. Not like we did 0, clearly, but I don't know if we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4.
we probably won't progress that way, even though we
think we'll do
might talk
chunks.
about them.
Yeah, we'll do like, because honestly, like we said, 0 could be episode 1, 2, and 3 as well.
Right.
Because
Depending on how it's played.
people could be stealthing in the sand for 25 minutes. One guy is a druid and turns himself into a snake and he gets in, but then someone gets distracted by this river he thinks might be enchanted. I mean, like, seriously, guys.
A mansion party turns into 3 nights.
Yeah.
You know, it happens.
By the way, definitely watch that. Anyway, we appreciate you all so much. I can't even say, like, the fact that a good deal of you are listening is incredible. So it
Whatever
blows my
platform
mind.
you're listening on, be it Google Podcast, Apple Podcast,
Rate us, like
Spotify.
us, share us,
yeah,
whatever.
please leave us a favorable review. That'll go a long way in helping us out.
Because right now I'm away from family, and right now you're away from family just to do this. And yeah, it's something we want to do. And this is, I don't want to come off as like beggy, but we put a lot of work into this for nothing.
Yeah.
And it's because, well, not for nothing, but for the sake of just wanting to do this for you guys. Because we love it. We know you love it. That's why you're here, clearly.
Yeah.
Like,
We enjoy being creative. It's
Yeah.
fun to explore ideas.
so tell us your ideas. Tell us what you're working on. I like to listen and read to everything you guys give me. So anyway, if there's anything else, just let us know. But for now, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.